Justin Baldoni is downsizing his company amid his legal battle with Blake Lively. Justin and his producing partner Steve Sarowitz are shuttering the philanthropic branch of their company Wayfarer Studios.
Justin Baldoni's Wayfarer Foundation shutting down.
I'm sorry. It's been a day.
Co-founder Steve Sarowitz announced the sunsetting of the organization on the nonprofit's Instagram.
According to a post on social media, Steve Sarowitz shared in a May 2nd Instagram message, "Upon unanimous decision of the board of directors, today we will begin the process of sunsetting the foundation. We will honor all of our current grant commitments as we carefully wind down operations over the next several weeks."
Writing to followers, "We understand that this news may come as a surprise, and we will be actively working over the next several weeks to ensure all matters are concluded with care and attention."
He continued, "Although the Wayfarer Foundation is closing, my personal commitment to giving remains strong, and I'm dedicated to making an impact on society through the ongoing mission and work." 41-year-old Baldoni has been serving as a Wayfarer Foundation board member since its launch in 2016.
But ET has learned that a main reason the foundation is closing its doors is largely because of Baldoni's ongoing lawsuit with his It Ends With Us co-star Blake Lively.
Yes, the It Ends With Us movie drama does in fact not end.
I'm going to share the breaking news that the Wayfarer Foundation is calling it quits. Now, could this be for liability reasons? Maybe they don't want their foundation to get sucked dry because of the pending lawsuits. And
just when people thought Justin Baldoni was finally the bad guy, Blake Lively proved she will always be the bad guy.
When? What? You nasty.
It's my mom's. You better stop trying to get up in her goodie snack.
This is your mother?
Well, by marriage, not vagina.
The financial and emotional strain proving too much to keep Wayfarer afloat. ET has reached out to Blake for comment.
The deeper we go, the uglier it gets.
Steve and Justin launched their foundation based in their Baha'i faith and designed to give back to other spiritually aligned organizations in 2021.
Brianna Eve said this is heartbreaking, the fallout of fake allegations. So many people impacted, including those supported by the foundation.
What would make a Hollywood heartthrob who built his brand on vulnerability and social good suddenly shut down his own charity? Not rebrand it, not pause it, shut it down. That's the exact question swirling around Justin Baldoni right now. And spoiler alert, it's not just about burnout or boardroom drama. Nope, this collapse of the Wayfarer Foundation came exactly as Baldoni's $400 million legal counterattack against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR machine kicked into high gear. Coincidence? Not a chance. Let's rewind. Justin Baldoni used to be Hollywood's Mr. Enlightened. TED Talks, books about redefining masculinity, podcasts with deep dives into mental health. He was the guy who made sensitivity sexy. But behind the scenes, there was a storm building. And now that storm has a name: Blake Lively. In late 2024, Lively filed a sexual harassment and retaliation complaint tied to the filming of It Ends With Us, a project Baldoni directed and co-starred in. Since then, this thing has spiraled way beyond just a legal issue. We're talking countersuits, phone subpoenas, media leaks, and one of the most jaw-dropping PR battles Hollywood has seen since Johnny vs. Amber. But the real plot twist? The way people around Baldoni are vanishing. His podcast partner quit. His talent agency dropped him. His biggest philanthropy project gone.
So this was just posted by the Wayfarer Foundation. And again, the Wayfarer Foundation is the foundation that Justin Baldoni is I believe, co-founder in, along with billionaire Steve Sarowitz. They share the same faith, the Baha'i religion, and sort of try to practice what they preach, which is...
And with a judge recently rejecting Blake's aggressive subpoena requests as too intrusive, this legal war is only getting messier and more personal. Oh, and just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, rumors are flying that Blake's team might drag Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman into the mix. Yep, you heard that right. So the question now isn't if this trial will destroy someone's career, it's whose. Stay with us, because what happens next might just change the power dynamics of Hollywood's most camera-ready trio. Let's talk about the elephant in the courtroom. Justin Baldoni's prized possession, the Wayfarer Foundation, just went dark. No farewell gala, no emotional Instagram goodbye, just a quiet shutdown. And the timing, absolutely brutal. This isn't some minor side project either. The Wayfarer Foundation was the nonprofit arm of Baldoni's personal brand. Launched in 2016, it was all about radical generosity, bridging economic gaps, and empowering the unhoused. It wasn't just about doing good.
Wayfarer Foundation. Over the past 4 years, Wayfarer Foundation has supported dozens of grantee partners in fulfilling their missions. I'm so incredibly proud of the impact this organization has made and deeply grateful for our staff, board, donors, and partners.
It was central to Baldoni's public identity. This was the man who cried on national TV, who told men it's okay to feel, who practically trademarked compassionate masculinity. So, when that kind of guy shuts down his entire philanthropic org, in the middle of a lawsuit accusing him of abuse and defamation, you better believe people are connecting the dots. Now, let's be fair. Officially, there's no link between the legal case and the closure. The statement from Wayfarer's board didn't mention the lawsuit. No fiery denial, no dramatic announcement. But let's be real, silence is loud. Because if it wasn't about the lawsuit, wouldn't they say so? Wouldn't they double down and shout, "We're not going anywhere"? Instead, what we got was silence. And if you're Justin Baldoni, that silence could be deafening. Why? Because public trust is everything in a high-profile defamation battle. And when your own foundation folds mid-fight, it tells the world that your support system, financial, emotional, reputational, is cracking. Worse still, he's not just losing a cause, he's losing allies.
Upon unanimous decision of the board of directors, today we will begin the process of sunsetting the foundation. We will honor all of our current grant commitments as we carefully wind down operations over the next several weeks.
This was a space where celebrities, donors, and changemakers aligned themselves with Baldoni's vision. And now, it's all evaporating at the exact moment he needs their support the most. Whether it's fear of negative press, donor hesitancy, or a legal decision to cut liabilities, one thing's clear: Baldoni's inner circle is shrinking fast. And here's the kicker: this closure didn't even make front-page news. It slipped through like a whisper. No red carpet, no last hurrah, just another piece of the puzzle falling off the board. If you think the closure of the Wayfarer Foundation was the only sign of trouble, buckle up, because the real damage is happening behind the scenes. One by one, Justin Baldoni's biggest supporters are ghosting him. And in Hollywood, silence isn't neutral, it's lethal. Let's start with WME, one of the most powerful talent agencies in the business. When the lawsuit between Baldoni and Blake Lively first exploded, WME went quiet. But then came the quiet cut. They dropped him from their roster. No public statement, no comment, just a clean break. That move doesn't just cost Baldoni opportunities, it sends a message to the rest of the industry. We're distancing ourselves.
Although the Wayfarer Foundation is closing, my personal commitment to giving remains strong, and I'm dedicated to making an impact on society through the ongoing missions and work. We understand that this news may come as a surprise, and we will be actively working over the next several weeks to ensure all matters are concluded with care and attention. With gratitude, Steve Sarowitz, founder, Wayfarer Foundations.
That's corporate code for "we don't want to go down with this ship." Next up, Liz Plank. You know, his co-host on the Man Enough podcast, the same platform where Baldoni preached emotional vulnerability and gender equity. When the allegations surfaced, fans noticed something odd. Liz stopped appearing. Then came the confirmation. She had officially stepped away from the show. Again, no dramatic fallout, no finger pointing, just another name erased from the roster. And let's not forget Vital Voices. They had planned to honor Baldoni with the Voices of Solidarity Award, one of their most prestigious recognitions for men advocating gender justice. That award, quietly rescinded. No photo ops, no mention, just vanished from their promo materials. So, what's happening here? This isn't about whether people believe Baldoni or Blake Lively. It's about optics. It's about PR. And in an industry where image is currency, Baldoni's is rapidly losing value. His inner circle isn't standing on the battlefield with him. They're retreating into the shadows. And that's what makes this so dangerous for his defense. In the court of public opinion, disappearing allies scream louder than angry ones. Because when the cameras start rolling in 2026, it won't just be about evidence, it'll be about narrative, about loyalty, about who still shows up for you when the storm hits.
So this, of course, has a rippling effect for all the people that didn't have grants, but maybe they were in line to get the next grant, or they were being supported in one way or another. So it's a tough loss. The collateral damage to this ongoing court case.
And so far, that list is getting shorter by the week. Just when it seemed like Blake Lively's legal team was gaining momentum, the court threw them a curveball. A federal judge slammed the brakes on one of their boldest moves yet, a sweeping subpoena for Justin Baldoni's personal phone records. The reason? It was just too much. The request wasn't subtle. Blake's lawyers asked for full access to Baldoni's call logs, texts, and private communications. Not just with her, but with dozens of others in and around the It Ends With Us set. They wanted names, dates, receipts, everything. But the judge? Not impressed. In legal terms, the subpoena was ruled overly intrusive. In plain English, way too nosy. The court told Blake's team to narrow it down, stick to specific individuals mentioned in the harassment complaint, not go on a fishing expedition. But here's the catch. While the judge said no to the kitchen sink approach, some of those communications are still fair game. So now the question is, who's on that shorter list? And why is everyone so nervous about what's on those call logs? See, these aren't just phone records, they're potential time bombs. Messages between Baldoni and studio executives, notes to his PR team, maybe even exchanges with people who've since distanced themselves, like his podcast co-host or board members from the Wayfarer Foundation. And here's where it gets messy. If Blake's team can show a pattern of retaliation, smear campaigns, or premeditated character attacks, those texts could blow the case wide open. Even one poorly worded message could paint a damning picture of intent. But on the flip side, if Baldoni's records show professionalism, concern, or even proof of false narratives, it could swing the public and maybe even the jury right back in his favor.
Now, does that mean that they are hemorrhaging funds and they don't have quite enough money? As Blake Lively revealed in her court document, Steve Sarowitz said he would spend $100 million if he needed to defeat Blake Lively. Well, it might cost more than that when you think about it. It might cost upwards of 6 figures a day.
This legal tug of war over data is more than just paperwork. It's about framing the story before the trial even starts. And both sides know. In high-stakes lawsuits, the first impression isn't made in court, it's made in the headlines. And speaking of headlines, a 2006 clip of Blake just resurfaced, and it's pouring gasoline on a fire no one saw coming. Let's talk about the blackface controversy that's now haunting her PR team. Just when Blake Lively seemed to be holding the high ground in this legal battle, a blast from the past came crashing through. And it wasn't pretty. A clip from a 2006 interview started making the rounds, and what's in it has fans and critics alike raising eyebrows. In the video, Blake casually jokes about how she used bronzer and wore what she called a scary spice fro to dress up like a black woman when she was younger, all to follow a boy she liked. She says it with a laugh, but now, nearly 2 decades later, nobody's laughing. The internet pounced, and it wasn't just casual Twitter commentary. Major cultural voices and news outlets picked it up, calling out what they described as textbook blackface. The timing couldn't have been worse. With Blake at the center of a heated legal case against Baldoni that touches on power dynamics and public image, this resurfaced clip is turning her into a target too. But here's where it really explodes. Right-wing commentators, including figures like Candace Owens, have taken the clip and turned it into a political rallying cry. They're painting Blake as the latest example of liberal hypocrisy.
When I look in the mirror every day, and if I don't let myself in to explore the fullness of my humanity and my feelings, how can I operate in the world?
Someone who talks the talk about equality, but can't walk away from her own problematic history. This cultural pylon has completely changed the tone of the conversation. Suddenly, the courtroom battle between Baldoni and Lively isn't just about what happened on a movie set, it's become a culture war proxy. And Ryan Reynolds, Blake's husband, has now found himself in the middle of it too. He publicly supported her during her Time 100 speech, trying to change the narrative, but the damage might already be done. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. No one's coming out of this squeaky clean anymore. Blake's past is now part of the present. And whether or not it's fair game in the courtroom, It's absolutely influencing the court of public opinion. If you thought this was just a case of he said, she said, think again, because now it's turning into who else knew and will they be dragged in? That's right. Two names you'd never expect to hear in a courtroom drama involving Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni are suddenly floating through legal circles. Taylor Swift and Hugh Jackman. Not as defendants, not as plaintiffs, but as possible collateral. Let's break it down. Blake Lively and Taylor Swift have been besties for years. Their friendship isn't casual, it's ride or die, family vacations, secret song teases, red carpet support, the whole package. And if there's one thing we know about high-profile lawsuits, it's that private conversations become public evidence. Texts, emails, DMs, if they're relevant, they're on the table. Blake's legal team already tried casting a wide net with subpoenas for Baldoni's phone records.
And while the foundation may be shuttering, ET has learned that Steve remains committed to fulfilling all pledged grants, estimated to be $35 million this year.
The court shut that down as overly broad, but still allowed for targeted communication requests. So, if any exchanges between Blake and Taylor touch on the case, Baldoni's team could go looking for those receipts. Then there's Hugh Jackman. At first glance, he seems like an innocent bystander. But here's where things get spicy. Hugh is closely tied to Ryan Reynolds. They're co-owners of Wrexham FC, frequent collaborators, and headline-making BFFs. Plus, rumors were swirling about a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine that Reynolds had allegedly promised him. Why does that matter? Because if Blake and Ryan were building a coordinated PR strategy, or if they were sharing sensitive legal moves, Hugh might have been in the loop. And let's not forget, the lawsuit doesn't just accuse Baldoni of harassment. His countersuit claims a smear campaign. That means any group chats, friendly emails, or even innocent brainstorming sessions could be twisted into evidence of collusion. Of course, none of this means Swift or Jackman will end up on a witness list. But in lawsuits this explosive, even whispers of their involvement add fuel to the fire. By now, this isn't just a lawsuit. It's a full-blown professional reckoning. And while the courtroom drama simmers, the real damage is happening in studios, boardrooms, and brand contracts behind the scenes. Let's start with Justin Baldoni. When he launched It Ends With Us, this was supposed to be his moment, a career-defining project adapting a best-selling novel, co-starring a global icon like Blake Lively. Instead, the film's release is reportedly on ice. Post-production delays, insurer hesitation, and PR nightmares have all collided to stall the project's momentum. Some insiders say the movie may never see the light of day unless one side publicly drops out, and neither seems ready to budge. And it gets worse. Baldoni's inspirational speaking gigs, quietly canceled, his book deals, rumored to be paused indefinitely. His podcast, Man Enough, once a hit with progressive audiences,
just released the piece of the puzzle that will destroy Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Colleen Hoover, Taylor Swift, the New York Times. He's killing 5 birds with 1 stone, and they're all getting exposed as liars.
Has gone dark since Liz Plank's departure. With the Wayfarer Foundation now shuttered and WME severing ties, he's not just fighting a lawsuit, he's fighting to stay relevant. Meanwhile, on Team Lively, things aren't exactly sunshine and Chanel bags either. That resurfaced blackface clip has cost her major goodwill, and online sentiment has turned sharply. Even her latest film, Another Simple Favor, caught heat for a bizarre incest subplot, and fans weren't exactly forgiving. Ryan Reynolds has tried to steer the ship by standing firmly by her side, even skipping the 2025 Met Gala together as a united front. But even Deadpool's snark can't erase headlines. And then there's the Whisper Network. Studios, brands, and streaming platforms don't like mess. No matter how beloved the stars are, controversy equals liability. With both camps stained by scandal, industry insiders are now asking, who's worth the risk? But for every door closing, there's another opening. Gossip sites, YouTube analysts, TikTok creators, everyone's feasting on the drama. The more this story spirals, the more valuable content it becomes, which means someone's career might crash, but someone else's brand, about to skyrocket. No gavel has dropped, no judge has ruled, no jury has even been picked. But in Hollywood, the real trial rarely waits for a courtroom, and this one's already been judged 1,000 times over in headlines, hashtags, and whispers behind closed studio doors. So who's actually winning? On paper, Justin Baldoni looks like he's in survival mode. His charity is gone, his agency has walked, His podcast is shelved, and every day, new headlines frame him as either a misunderstood visionary or a fallen idol.
About this story to me is the Justin Baldoni of it all. He is a self-proclaimed male feminist. He's woke. He speaks out against sexual assault and sexual harassment, even toxic masculinity. And now in this legal complaint filed by Blake Lively, he's being accused of sexual harassment.
The legal countersuit might be strong, but it's hard to make a case for momentum when your closest allies are vanishing one by one. But here's the twist. Baldoni isn't disappearing quietly. Right-wing media, bot-driven Twitter trends, and even some celebrity influencers are rallying around his "canceled for being a man" narrative. Whether you agree or not, the support is real, and it's loud. That doesn't win court cases, but it sure can sway perception. And perception is power. On the flip side, Blake Lively entered this fight with near-bulletproof star power. Elegant, beloved, married to Ryan Reynolds, she had the public in her corner. But the blackface clip changed the mood. Fast. Add in her plantation wedding controversy and the awkward press she's getting for another simple favor, and suddenly her golden image has a few dents. Even her most loyal fans are treading carefully. And Ryan? For now, he's the stabilizer. But even Deadpool has limits when the plot turns real-life ugly. If more subpoenas drop and more private messages leak, even he might get pulled deeper into the narrative than he bargained for. So here's where we are. A movie in limbo, reputations in free fall, and two once untouchable stars now locked in a PR war disguised as a lawsuit. The official trial won't happen until March 2026, but let's be honest, by then, the verdict that matters most may have already been delivered by every studio exec, brand manager, and fan with a Twitter account. And in this game, silence isn't safe, it's strategy. So what do you think? Can Baldoni turn this around? Can Blake rebuild her image? Or is this the rare Hollywood triangle where everyone ends up losing? Let us know in the comments. And if you think this is wild, wait till you hear who's next on Hollywood's legal chopping block.